And good morning to you. It is a Thursday, actually March 2nd, 2017, and it's time for me to give you a rundown on some of our national and international news. You'll find that I try to choose stories that are not getting a lot of play on the mainstream media, not because they're not news, but because, rather, they're news that you're not hearing about. For instance, you're not going to hear me talking about the tornado that hit, or you're not going to hear me talking very much about the Trump speech. Instead, I'd like you to know that Vitaly Churkin, the Russian ambassador to the UN, that died of a heart attack, now they're saying he may have been poisoned. And, of course, part of this issue, too, is that the whole tension between Russia and America, I mean, how would Americans feel if an American who was in Russia just had a heart attack? Well, obviously, it does happen. North Korea, meanwhile, calls the Kim Jong-nam poison claim, that they used VX gas on him. They're saying it's absurd and it lacks any scientific credibility whatsoever. So, there you go. Hashtag science. Private investor, actually a Norwegian private investor, has divested $34.8 million from the firms that are tied to the Dakota Access pipeline. They're calling this a victory for the Standing Rock movement. It's not been simply a matter of physically trying to stop the pipeline from being built in that particular place, but also trying to get the money out of it with this divesting campaign. It apparently has been working, at least to a certain degree. The Pentagon is accusing the Russians of making some airstrikes against opposition forces in Syria. And Texas is now challenging gay marriage benefits. Not that it's not expected, but the fact that so many people thought that because the Supreme Court ruled on it, it is now the law. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the law today on my commentary and how it is that we do so many things today simply because somebody passed a law. All right. The Syrian army has gained control of a fortress near the western entrance to Palmyra. I feel like we're talking about news headlines from 200 or 300 years ago when we talk about that. Also, both sides, apparently, according to the UN, have been committing war crimes in the battle for Aleppo. We're talking about everything from using civilians as human shields to targeting UN convoys. Both sides have done it. A French presidential candidate was hit in the head with an egg. I know that doesn't necessarily sound all that unbelievable when you think about it, but again, this is like a throwback. And people are upset at the politicians. What do? They throw eggs. They didn't identify the unknown assailant at this point. A little bit about the Trump speech. Apparently, the Democrats are saying he was detached from reality, while the rest of America is lauding how presidential he sounded. And, by the way, because of the positive speech coverage that he's gotten, Trump has delayed signing his replacement travel ban order because he doesn't want to crowd out that positive spin that he's been getting. By the way, the preview that we've seen of that new travel ban will exempt Iraqis. So all those other nations that were on his no entry, well, they're going to stay there. Moldova's government has recalled their ambassador to Russia, and nobody knows why. And police in the United States apparently say that they were authorized by McDonald's to arrest protesters. This according to a lawsuit filed in Memphis, Tennessee. Some of these protesters, of course, going for the minimum wage of $15 and protesting McDonald's. Well, they got followed home by police after protests. They got barred from City Hall by police. And the police say, well, we were authorized to do that by McDonald's. So there you go. All right. A dash cam captured a video of a huge meteor in Texas. It's actually so big it was spotted 700 miles away in Aurora, Colorado, and it created a rare sonic boom. And we also see news that Islam is going to be the largest religion in the world by the year 2070, according to a new report. And lastly, if you haven't heard, Eric Holder back in the news saying that he's coming. The newly rich Obama is ready to roll. He locked down a $60 million book deal along with Michelle, and so Barack is going to be back in politics sometime soon to help the Democrats fight what they're calling GOP gerrymandering. That's what we've got for our national and international headlines. Make sure you check out my Alaska headlines. And once again, my commentary today is on the issue of the law. Anyway, if you like what I'm doing, support me on Patreon or by buying a direct subscription at radiofreespeech.com. And if you've got a news tip for me or something you'd like to hear me do a commentary on, send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.